and it brought down my editing from 8 hours down to about 2. I may not feed it that catalog because I don't want it to learn bad habits. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we're gonna get into how we've been able to cull over 500,000 photos with Aftershoot, and by we I mean the AI magical robots that does everything, and how Aftershoot has edited about 300,000 photos, 315,000 according to the stats. And this didn't happen overnight. Obviously, you guys, if you follow the channel, you saw our initial post about Aftershoot, and this was when we first had been using it for, I think, a couple of months, something like that. I can't really remember how long we waited from the time that we started using it until we posted the video. I just wanted to do a follow-up on that video because I feel like, one, we got a lot of comments from you guys, and I really do appreciate that. I think that it helps us grow as a community when you guys are engaged with what we post. So thank you to everyone that's been leaving comments and asking questions. There are a few videos that we're actually going to make that are direct answers to comments that you guys have left and questions that you guys have left. So with that being said, with that long intro, I want to get into how we've been using Aftershoot, how it works, in case you guys haven't watched our other video. If you want to watch it, check it out. I'll link it below, but I'll give you guys like a quick run through as far as how we've been using it and what our thoughts are after a few 100,000 photos that we've edited on top of the ones that we had mentioned before. So the most important thing about Aftershoot and about any AI editing program is you have to feed it information. The only way that it's going to work is if you feed it enough to work with. So what you have to do is you tell it, these are the catalogs that I want you to learn from. And then in these catalogs, these are the photos that I want you to learn from. So obviously it's not going to select every single photo. What you're telling it is, for example, with us, how we used to do it is every single photo that was flagged were photos that we edited. So when I would feed it the catalog, I would tell it only select photos that have been flagged. Those are your tone setters. Those are the ones that I want you to learn from. So if we were shooting in a situation where it's indoors, it's tungsten lighting, but I shot it with available light, I want you to cool that white balance down a little. Usually we shoot a little warm, so I wanted to cool it a little bit more to get it into a more neutral state. If we're shooting outside and we're underexposing because it's in the middle of the day, I tell it to overexpose and post a little bit so that way it's exposing more of the shadows and leaving the highlights pretty much where they are, maybe pulling it down a little bit, little by little, but it's going to start learning more of your method of shooting, because obviously we all shoot a little bit differently. We all edit a little bit differently. Our standard preset is actually very, I don't want to say plain, but very simple, because we want our work to be palatable for most people. So we're not too heavy on high contrast images or like very, very contrasty, very punchy. We do those for the off-camera lighting ones, which I'm going to get into in a little bit with Aftershoot and how it handles those. But for the most part, we do very bright, natural, clean photos. So 90% of what the wedding is going to look like is going to be very similar. And I think that Aftershoot has been doing a really, really good job with taking what we fed it and giving us back pretty much exactly what we need. I mean, at this point, I do need to add a few more catalogs because it's been like 2 or 3 months since I've added more, because I was pretty satisfied with what we were getting. But I think if I add even more, it's going to learn even more. So I'm actually, after this video is done, probably tomorrow, I'm going to feed it a little bit more to see if it gets it even closer, because at this point it pretty much gets it like 95% of the way of where we want it to be. So I'm not trying to beat it to death, give it more and start confusing it, because I'll tell you this, there are some instances where we're shooting and there's a lot of brick in that venue, a specific venue that we shoot at a lot. What I don't want to do is go in there and feed it those images, and now it's going to edit very green onto the next jobs because it's going to think that every situation is that orange. You see what I'm saying? So like, if I understand that I'm overcompensating because of a specific venue, I may not feed it that catalog because I don't want it to learn bad habits, if that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense, what I just explained. So I'm a little bit more specific and critical as far as what I feed it. When it's more of a neutral state, when it's more of a situation that we're going to run into a lot, then I'll feed it. When it's something that is very extreme, like if we're shooting in a red room and everything's really red, I may not feed it that, because then it's going to overcompensate on other photos where it's not that kind of look and it's not that red. Again, let me know if that makes sense to you guys. Now, as far as how easy is it, I mean, it really has cut down a significant amount of time. And I'm genuinely not just saying that. For example, if you guys follow the channel, you see that sometimes we do vlogs where we're shooting in San Diego. I will sit in the passenger side on the way home and have my assistant driving home, and I'll be feeding those photos into Aftershoot after I transfer them into my hard drive. I'm not exaggerating when I say that by the next day, pretty much the entire wedding is edited. I still have to go through it. We still have to make sure that there's quality control. We don't just run it through Aftershoot and deliver it to our couples, because I think that that is extremely detached. And for something like what we do, which is weddings, I feel like emotionally you still have to be involved. You still have to look through the photos, and you still have to make sure that, okay, even though this photo was a little blurry and maybe Aftershoot didn't select it because of your way of telling Aftershoot to be so picky, that's a photo of grandma, and I don't think they're going to care if the photo is a little bit blurry. They're still going to want that photo. So you still have to go in and double check its work. Additionally, on top of that, I will go in and add a few more family photos. So for example, if there's a photo with 10 people in the frame, I'm going to give them at least like 5, 6, maybe 7 photos, something like that, because I want to give them more choices than they want, especially for photos like that. If it only gives me one, I bet you, if you guys have been doing this long enough, there will be a client that will go, hey, can we get a couple more because we only got one? And it's like, now you got to go through the whole process and go through the whole gallery and save yourself the stress, give them a little extra, right? So as far as, going back to my original point, how easy is it? How much time does it save? A significant amount of time. You still have to go through the photos and make sure that it's delivering the correct ones. But for the most part, it's going to get you like 95% of the way there. I'll go in sometimes and I'll cool it down, or I'll warm it up a little bit if I see something that's off. But generally speaking, I don't know if you guys have seen that meme. At that point, I'm probably doing where you do the 1 or 2, 3 clicks that your couples, your client will probably not notice. But as photographers, we feel like we have to be involved and do something. Otherwise, it feels like, we're not doing anything. So I think that I'm finding that balance of, do I need to adjust it, or is it just me being a little bit of a control freak and I want to do something so I feel like I'm actually editing it? Again, let me know if that makes sense to you guys. I do feel like sometimes I'll edit it and then I'll send the sneak peeks, right? And then when we're going to send the final gallery, I go through it again and I go, Aftershoot edited this better than I did. Like, I cooled it down too much and now I'm starting to see a little blue in their hair. Like, bring it back to, where it was. I'm genuinely not just saying that. It's happened more times than I can count where I go, why did I cool it down? Like, it was fine the way it was. So use that, how you will. Use that to your advantage, what I'm telling you guys. After you fed it enough images, just trust it and stop being such a control freak. I'm not saying that just to you guys. I'm saying that to myself. That's as far as that is. It saves a ton of time. You just have to trust that it knows what it's doing after you've fed it enough images. Of course, go in and double check. But, as I'm filming this video, I'm starting to realize, just trust it a little bit more, because it has done a tremendous job. As far as retouching, this is probably a video that I wanted to make just on that topic, because, maybe to some of you guys who are very like fashion photographers or very much on perfecting the art of airbrushing or softening the skin of eyes and hair and everything, you're a lot more picky than I am, for example, you will see its downfalls when you go into the AI retouching Aftershoot. For the majority of us, the majority of the population, like, I was pretty blown away with how accurate and how good the sliders work. Not only how accurate and how good, but how easy. Because I was trying to explain it to one of our photographers, to Sergio, and he's like, dude, you can do that in Lightroom. Like, you can grab a brush and do this. And I go, I understand that. But grabbing a brush and then going in and being very specific and then switching the brush and then doing it for a different effect and then doing it again, it sounds trivial. It sounds like it's not a lot of time. But you compound that over, let's say 50 images, it's going to take you a lot of time to do that. On top of that, let's say you shoot a few headshot sessions, and let's say a set of 5 or 6 of them are in this exact same setting. Let's say you're shooting and there's a little bit of backlighting and there's some frizzy hairs that are, showing up in the corners. To go into Lightroom or to go into Photoshop, it's going to take a while to do every single one of them. And if you paste from previous in Lightroom, you guys know that it's not necessarily going to work, because if they move even slightly, it's going to mess up any of the work that you did there. In Aftershoot, in the retouching portion of it, It is literally a matter of doing the slider to the left, to the right. You can take off blemishes, you can soften the skin, you can whiten the teeth, which I'm not going to post a photo of the specific room where I had to go a little heavy-handed on it, but it's just, it makes it so much easier and so much faster. I'm talking, you can paste those settings onto the other ones, and it's not like Lightroom where it's going to only copy and paste it in that little specific area. No, it's going specifically where the hair is, there's stray hairs, where there's the blemishes. It's not just going to copy from here and put it over here like in Lightroom. It's specifically looking for that exact spot to do those retouches. Again, let me know if what I'm saying makes sense, or if I lost you guys. I'm always happy to, kind of make myself a little bit clearer. But I think you guys are understanding what I'm saying if you've played with the retouching tools in Lightroom and you haven't played with it in Aftershoot. Go and play with it in Aftershoot. For headshots, it is a game changer. I did a few headshots last week, and in order to retouch those, normally it would take me a couple of days until they're ready, because I have to go in and manually, make those little adjustments, remove blemishes, all that. You bring those photos into Aftershoot, and within 10-15 minutes you can be done. That to me was the most impressive new feature that I played with in the last few months since the previous video that we posted. Granted, the retouching wasn't available in the first video that we did. They hadn't released it yet, but I mean, it is just, that to me is a big game changer. All right, so to wrap this up, right now, Aftershoot is doing a Black Friday deal. I'm going to leave a link down below if you guys want to try it out. I think it's a 20% discount for the yearly plan, but I mean, if you shoot more than, I would say, a dozen weddings a year, for me, it's worth it, because what we were paying for our editors before versus what we're paying now, because there's a heck of a lot less work than there used to be, it has made a really big difference, not only in speed, but also financially. Because instead of paying the full amount where it would take us, 8 hours to edit a wedding, I always treat myself like the guinea pig. So before I came up with the new rate for our editors, with Aftershoot being our tone setter, essentially, which, gets the photos pretty much where we want them to be, I went in and I edited probably a good 10 weddings myself, and it brought down my editing from 8 hours, more or less, 7-8 hours. I'm usually pretty quick with it, down to about 2 to 2.5 hours if I really just hunkered down and did it. So, like, to me, the amount of time that you're getting back is just, it's worth it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're doing a little bit more volume like we are, it's absolutely worth it. But for you guys, I would say if you're doing a minimum of 10 weddings, 10 to 12 weddings, save yourself the time. It really, like, once you get into that groove, into the rhythm, it does cut down the time significantly. I mean, for engagement sessions, forget it. Those things are done in 20 minutes. We can knock those out, going through them and removing the junk and making any little adjustments. The only thing, like I was saying earlier, it has not struggled, but it doesn't understand exactly how to process it, is when you use off-camera lighting. Now, 5% of what we shoot is off-camera lighting, like, those staple, like, contrasty shots that we do. So to me, doesn't kill it. You know what I mean? Like, if it's only 5% of the day that I need to go in and do a little bit of extra, do some masking, additional contrast, whatever we do, that doesn't kill it, because for 95% of the day, it's getting it correct. So in any case, like I was saying, guys, there is a Black Friday sale. If you guys are watching this in November, I'm going to leave the link down below. Check it out. And if you found this video helpful, let me know. If you have any questions, if I went on tangents and there's a question that popped up while I was going off on some rant, let me know. And yeah, I'm always happy to respond to every comment that you guys leave. Thank you guys for leaving comments, because it makes me feel like, oh shoot, okay, the channel is actually doing something. It's actually growing. And that's what I want. I want this to be a community. I don't want it to be just me rambling on and on forever, which I could, clearly. But thank you guys for watching. Have a great week. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And see you guys. Well, I'm not going to see you guys later. I hate when YouTubers say that. Bye, guys. Have a good week.